Hello, a bit late in the day, my apologies. It's been a very, very busy day. Guess what? I was in the Telegraph today. I know, it sounds so good. Do you know what, actually? I've had so many lovely messages, but I feel like saying I wish I hadn't been in the Telegraph. I mean, I'm glad that I was because it was highlighting the miserable year that we've all had under Labour, but it just seems a shame that we even have to do that. I'll link the article to this. But it's in the money section and it's Labour's winners and losers. And for those of you that haven't read it, please like and subscribe and keep sharing. For those of you that haven't read it, I'll read some bits out for you because it's really some of the quotes. I mean, these are real people, and you know I love our chats. You know that you and me are real people, and you know that we have a story to tell, and you know that Labour ignores it. And what really, really annoys me, so I'm trying to do two things at once here and we know I can't do that. What really annoys me is that they just don't listen to a word you or I have to say. So we say to them, don't do this, it won't work. And they go, yeah, it will, it'll be fine. And it doesn't work. And then you don't see them for dust. I mean, they're literally on to the next catastrophe. And it's just misery after misery after misery. And then Rachel Reeves had a little cry in the Commons. None of us know what it was. Personal matter. Whilst we're all still crying over every single penny that she's nicked from hardworking pensioners, from children, from farmers. Well, let's read the article. I'll give you some of the headlines that I thought were, really pertinent. So a pensioner, Peter Ferguson, has still not forgiven her for ripping up his carefully laid financial planning. The Chancellor used the budget to bring pensions into the scope of inheritance tax, upending millions of calibrated retirement plans. Now, this, I think, is a really, really good point. People have made plans based on what the last government and a bit before them told us to do. And without any recognition of that, Labour have just gone, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore, so it's this way now. So everything that we've been planning towards being told that this is the right way to do it is now the wrong way to do it, and the cost is our money. So Ian goes on to say, he'd hoped to pass most of his pot to his children. He believes the changes amount to state theft. There's no incentive to save, to provide for your family. I would be better off going to restaurants, drinking nice wine and going on holiday. Do it. That's what I say. If you can afford it, do it. Then we go on to the farmer. So David Barton's farm will now attract an inheritance tax bill of £800,000 when it passes to his son Ben. And the bit that I like in this interview was, in a union meeting, or at a union meeting last year, Mr. Barton raised his concerns directly with Steve Reed, the Environment Secretary. My question to him was, can you tell me when I'm going to die? Because I don't know when I'm going to die, and if I get it wrong, the business is gone. He said that I'm disappointed because we engaged with Labour politicians before the election. All the noises were very promising and things were okay until the budget. That was a massive blow to the industry. It's completely knocked the stuffing out of us. Then we've got the young voter base. So this is a property buyer, and this is Emily Fishburn, who's 29, who now faces paying an extra £1,000 on her new home in Nuneaton. It means first-time buyer now faces the extra grand. We put an offer in before the threshold changed. Now, that's the stamp duty threshold. Kirsty Allsop has been doing a lot of campaigning against this. We put an offer in before the threshold change, which is so frustrating because now we have that as an additional cost we weren't anticipating. For a first-time buyer, where are you going to get an extra grand from? Well, for any of us, where are you going to get an extra grand from? Then we've got the landlords. Now, we're told that landlords, boo hiss, apart from the fact that actually not, landlords are an integral part of our society. Britain's property investors have been attacked by politicians of all stripes ever since the Tories began whittling away their tax breaks. Unsurprisingly, landlords' fortunes have not improved much better under Labour. It's pressing ahead with plans to force landlords to meet energy efficiency standards by the end of the decade. Many are expected to spend tens of thousands insulating properties or sell up and exit the market. Now, sell up and exit the market, right. So if you can't afford to spend that money, you sell up and you exit the market. Who buys into the market? Who's going to buy that house? What's going to happen then? Are we going to get another investor who's going to buy that house? And what if they can't afford to do what that last person could afford to do? Or what if they can afford to do it and they pass that cost on to the tenant? Because again, it's another one that just hasn't been thought through properly. Who do you think is going to pay in the long run for the tens of thousands of investment that landlords have to put in the property? What are they going to do? They're going to put the rent up. So it's going to be the tenant that pays for that. So we go through that. Then we've got the second homeowner. Now, again, they are the social pariahs. Nobody's allowed to have a second home. How dare you? Since April, local authorities have been able to use additional powers to charge double council tax on second homes. Now, let's not forget that Keir Starmer said repeatedly he wasn't going to raise council tax. So he has raised council tax, and he's doubled council tax for second homeowners. Amazing, Keir. Thanks so much. Which, by the way, he is about 15 times over. While it was a Tory policy, Labour rubbed salt into the wound by increasing the stamp duty surcharge for second home buyers from 3% to 5%. Peter Drown, 75, has been renting a flat near St Paul's in London for the past 6 months. He lives in Truro, Cornwall with his wife, but spends every other week working in the office in the city as an accountant. As a result, he's been hit with a £4,246.90 council tax bill. In total, his bill for both properties is now £8,750. So he says he's going to give up his flat. I've been working in the city since 1969. I've paid lots of tax, says Mr. Drown. This is not a real second home. It's not a holiday home. If you live somewhere like Birmingham where the council is bust, you could almost understand it. But the City of London has plenty of money. Why are they messing around with the likes of me? And then there's me, private school parents. And that's where I'm saying, well, I'll read you what I've said. Anna, also takes issue with the perception that parents choose to send their children to private schools simply to make them get ahead in life. She says, the people who are really buying advantage are those who can afford to buy houses next to outstanding state schools. What parents in the independent sector are doing is buying an education that suits their children's needs, which they believe the state can't provide. The way ministers have spoken about private education, they do not think about how this affects the children. They are actively pushing a group of people out and saying, you don't matter, you don't count, you're not important, you're insignificant, you're a political smear on our outlook. So there you go. That's the article. I think it's a really good article. There's loads more to it, but it's the winners and losers in Labour's first year. There's not really any winners, honestly speaking. I mean, the unions have done all right out of it so far, but that's your lot. It really cements the whole dirge and drudgery and the national feel of, I mean, realistically, we haven't got an Olympics coming up. We haven't got any massive, we've got Wimbledon on at the minute. But again, no flipping line judges. Amazing. So that's gone AI. So we're all a bit miz with that. There's nothing really to rally the nation. There's nothing good happening, is there? It's just more and more misery piled on by Labour. And it's depressing. And you feel like you just get to grips with one and then another comes in and tells you they're going to do it completely wrong. And I absolutely agree with the pensioner in that article that says, I've literally done everything they told me to do. I've done everything so that I'm not reliant on the state, and now I'm being punished. And it's envy. It's all the politics of envy. Makes me sick. So have a nice little read of that. And if you are a pensioner who's going to get hit with this, have a nice read of that with a bottle of something very expensive. And I'd flick your middle finger to Rachel Reeves and say, screw that, you can't have it. And even if you have a hangover in the morning, it'll be worth it, won't it?